What's going on, Eastern Shore? Hey, everybody. Welcome on in to the Delmarva Sports Insider, the only live and local show dedicated to giving you all local sports all the time. I'm Sports Director Trayvon Miles.
And I am Julian Sidor in for Brandon Bosser.
That's exactly right. Welcome on in to another episode of DSI. You could be anywhere in the world, literally, Julian, but you are here
Exactly.
with us. Thank you. And to everyone out there, welcome back to the greatest show in America. Julian, we got a bunch of topics to get to, including some local sports news to begin with. We learned this week that the NJAC Conference has suspended fall sports. This decision affects both the Wesley and Salisbury football programs, so we won't see football camps open up locally in the next couple of weeks. Instead, the conference is now toying with the option to move the season onto the spring.
It seems like the most likely way to get a season played. The conference releasing a statement saying they would, quote, explore the provision of a competitive season for the fall sports student athletes during the spring 2021 semester and allow them to engage in practice and training opportunities during the fall 2020 semester.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we found out that in Wicomico County, their public schools would start the school year online, and the new head coach of the Bennett Clippers football team, Dustin Mills, reacting, saying that no official decision has been made about fall sports and that the impact on our specific team, we are still continuing outdoor training sessions and no change has been made to that program.
Now, we also reached out to the head man over at Y-High, Isaiah Taylor. The Indians have been holding conditioning workouts at the school 3 times a week for 2 hours at a time. Taylor told us that they were not prepared for the decision to come down and were in fact preparing for a full season. He says those workouts will continue for his team as well.
So what do we know? So what does all this mean, you might be asking? The most obvious answer is that folks are being hopeful now that the seasons that are being affected in the present could go on early next year. However, that is not a given either. But I do believe the language in which these cancellations are happening now, specifically the college one, give the student athletes something to look forward to if we are able to get this thing under control by that time. What do you think?
That's exactly right. I feel like you have to give some hope that there is going to be ball played in the spring. You have to give them hope so there's something to work for, because otherwise the prospect that an entire season is lost, it can be extremely detrimental to these young student athletes. I mean, as we've talked, I think the best proposal that we've seen is for something starting in the spring. I think the interesting thing, though, I've seen at the high school level, I've seen it in the Western Shore in Maryland, Upper Delaware, is that they've had combines for these high school football players so they can have something to put on tape, because that's the most important thing. Put something on tape for the college scouts to look at.
Yeah, but, I mean, are we really okay holding combines with 300 and 400 kids, as we've seen online, if we don't want to have a season but we're going to hold combines? I understand something has to be done. But to me, I don't know. Maybe that is the right thing to do. I don't know.
I don't think anybody knows,
I wasn't the grumpy old guy in this. Honest.
I think that everybody's just trying to find something to do, and it's tough. Yeah. Nobody knows the right answers right now. Well, of course, all of this undoubtedly has been tough on the kids. The pandemic putting thousands of administrators and leaders into some not so envious positions.
Yeah, one of those leaders in our community is Salisbury Associate AD Dawn Chamberlain. We check in with her in part 2 of her insider interview.
You know, the fact that the NCAA has, put out a blanket waiver and giving all the fall athletes a season of eligibility back, even if they practice, that's going to be helpful in that situation. We have to be able to follow the NCAA guidelines, the state guidelines, and certainly the institutional guidelines. And, I commend Dr. White and Dr. DiBartolo for the effort that they put forth trying to ensure that we could have a season. It pretty much was inevitable, but they've done everything that they can, leading up to this point, and they've worked really, really hard, where a lot of other institutions just threw in the towel right away. They worked hard to see if they could possibly find a way to make it happen. But when the NCAA came out with the new guidelines, and given, everything that's happening even locally, with the numbers going up, it's just not in the best interest of our student athletes and our staff right now to play sports. We're not going to do the right thing. It's going to linger, and we're not going to get the opportunity to have sports back. So, I say, wear your mask. practice your 6-foot social distancing at all times and wash your hands. Stay out of large crowds. Just do the right thing so that we can get back on the field.
Now, Julian, Coach Chamberlain was very adamant that she was upset with our country a little bit. And selfishly, I think a lot of people feel that way, sports fans anyway. If there is a small chance that we can get back local sports, let's just do what we have to do, right? But some of those things are not a given for college athletes.
No, they're not. I think one thing I do want to talk about, though, is this argument in terms of eligibility. When we're talking about seniors, when we're talking about incoming freshmen, where do they stand? You were mentioning something to me while we were watching this about the possibility of some people actually taking a year off college.
Yes, yeah. Coach Chamberlain said that what she is going to advise to some of her seniors is to maybe take a leap year of college, take a gap year per se, and come back next fall with the hope to play their senior years with the Salisbury field hockey team. Obviously, Salisbury field hockey, a prestigious team, and a lot of those ladies want to continue their careers and have a chance to win a national championship, quite frankly. So I think I would take a gap year, man. I mean, it's going to be online classes. You're not really getting the full experience. So in my opinion, I don't see why not, unless you want to go ahead and get your degree and start working. And really, who wants to do that?
Who wants to go into this job field?
Who wants to do that except for the kids that are in college, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, even if I wasn't in school, I would think about taking a year and saying, let me just see how everything pans out. But then you have the question, Trey, what happened to the freshmen that have been recruited? Now you have seniors coming back, not as many positions. I mean, it's a domino effect with everything that we've seen during this pandemic.
Yeah, and that is not a question that I asked to Coach Chamberlain, but you do have a backlog that you are thinking about with seniors coming back and incoming freshmen coming. But a bit of word of advice from us here at 47 ABC. Stay in school, kids. Trust me.
Yes.
All of this can wait. All right, staying here on the shore with high schools and college seasons continuing to be canceled, not only does it do harm to those excited and awaiting their college experience, but what about the kids that haven't committed to college quite yet?
Exactly. Zach Stanley is a catcher and middle infielder at Colonel Richardson. He's one of thousands of kids who missed out on his spring season and trying to get all he can out of summer. Now, he's a member of the East Coast Royals, a travel ball team that has actually played a couple dozen games already this summer. Zach is going into his senior year with the Colonels, a team who will come back in 2021 looking to hoist that trophy again. This summer becomes even more important for players like Zach who are still uncommitted to college and need a way to show what they can do on the field.
I feel like it would better prepare me for next season, get me ready for college, and be ready no matter what happens. Competition, the reps, pretty much anything.
Now, this is really an interesting situation for a lot of these baseball players, Trey, because this is their time to showcase it. They have to do something this summer because hopefully they'll have a spring season, but as we saw with last spring season, nothing is really guaranteed. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, and you talked a little bit about it as far as the combines go and wanting to do those things. But, we know kids have to do something. I'm just hoping that they do it safely if they do anything. Unfortunately, that'll do it for our A block. We're taking a quick commercial break, but when we return, we have an all-new After the Whistle. We're going to Delmar, home of the champions. That's next on the Delmarva Sports Insider.
My name is Javon Purnell from Parkside High School, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.